Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 2023 Preakness Stakes preview. I am Ben Mostaller, the host of the Sports Lock podcast, and today we're going to be breaking down the 148th running of the Preakness coming up this Saturday. If you haven't watched my videos already, I did a Kentucky Derby preview. Unfortunately, we didn't get any wins, but that's all right. It was a tough race to handicap. We had an upset of Mage, who we'll get to in a minute. But if you're new to the channel, I want to thank you for joining. And please subscribe if you're on YouTube and share with your friends and family, as well as if you want up-to-date videos and information on Instagram or Twitter, it's all at Sports Lock Podcast. So make sure to follow me over on those channels. So the 148th Preakness will be run this Saturday, May 20th from Pimlico Racetrack, Baltimore, Maryland, post time, 7:01 p.m. Eastern time. It's going to be interesting because they're calling for some rain on Saturday. How will that affect my picks? We'll find out here shortly. It's going to be an 8-horse field going a mile and a 3/16, a little bit shorter than the Derby, and we have a lot less horses than in the Derby. So let's look at the Derby results here quick, analyze them a little bit before we move on to the predictions for the Preakness Stakes. The winner was Mage at 15-1. He was 7 horses worse odd-wise, so the 7th best favorite to win the thing, and he does it at a great price of 15-1. What I find interesting is one of my long shots when I made this for the Derby prediction video, I had Reincarnate, who was at 50-1. I thought he'd be bet down somewhere to 20 to 30-1. Turns out he was 14-1. So he had higher odds to win the thing than Mage did, which is very interesting. In watching the race, Mage came through some traffic around the last turn and was able to catch 2 fills and lead the pack down the stretch, where Angel of Empire, who was the horse that I picked to win it all after the scratches of my 2 favorites, Forte and Practical Move, Angel of Empire tried to give a bid at the end down the middle of the track, just didn't get there in enough time. If there was a little bit more track, I think he would have won, but he ends up placing third, 2 fills at 9-1 second. And we have Disarm, who came in at 26-1 to hit fourth. Nonetheless, again, not a winner of the Derby, but I am confident that we're going to bounce back in a big way at the Preakness this week, and a not so great field, in my opinion. But before we move past that, I just want to congratulate the jockey Javier Castellano and trainer Gustavo Delgado on their first Kentucky Derby wins. So let's meet the field for this Preakness coming up this Saturday. We have National Treasure, Chase the Chaos, Mage, Coffee with Chris, Red Route 1, Perform, Blazing Sevens, and First Mission. And in a minute, I will be breaking down each horse for you and giving my predictions at the end of the video to let you know who I'm betting and who I think is going to come in the top 4. So let's start with National Treasure at 4-1. Right now, he is the 3rd favorite on the board, and he's going to be trained by Bob Baffert and ridden by John Velazquez. Of course, we know Bob Baffert is one of the greatest trainers of all time, but he is banned from Churchill Downs for reportedly giving his horses illegal substances. We had that a couple years back, and he's banned from there, but not from Pimlico. So he will be running National Treasure out of the 1 spot. Bob has won 7 Preakness races, with his last 2 winners being the last 2 Triple Crown winners, American Pharaoh in 2015 and Justify a couple years after. John Velazquez will be riding in a field high 13th Preakness, looking to finally win his first. So we take a look at these connections, and it's probably the best in the race. Baffert winning 7 times and Velazquez being the most, getting the most mounts out of any other of the jockeys in this year's Preakness. So will that help National Treasure win? Well, let's take a look at National Treasure. He comes in finishing 4th in the Grade 1 Santa Anita Derby, where he finished behind Practical Move, Mandarin Hero, and Skinner. This horse has only won his maiden claiming race and seems to struggle with the distance. He has been training well, though, lately. However, I'm not sure if the travel across the country and his not so standoutish performances will help him win. At the end, I will give my predictions on who I think, again, is going to be winning and if he will definitely be in my top four or not. Half of the field will get in there, of course, since there's only 8 horses. And what's interesting about this field this year is that Mage will be the only horse coming in off of the Derby. Every other horse is fresh and new. Number 2 is the longest shot in the race. That's Chase the Chaos at 50-1. Jockey Sheldon Russell and trainer Ed Moger Jr. Both are looking to win their first Preakness Stakes, making their debut. Now, again, this horse is a true 50-1 shot, in my opinion. He's very slow and has only won 3 out of his 8 races. His only graded stakes race was the Grade 2 San Felipe, where he finished 7th by 16, that's right, horse lengths to Practical Move. I don't see him finishing anywhere close to the board on Saturday. See him getting dead last or close to it. Number 3 is the Derby winner Mage at 8-5 odds. He is the morning line favorite for jockey Javier Castellano and trainer Gustavo Delgado. Now, what's interesting is Javier has won his first Derby, but he has won not just one, but 2 Preakness Stakes races. He's going to be the most experienced as far as wins. No other jockey in this field has gotten a win, but he has gotten 2 back in 2006 with Bernardini and Cloud Computing. I didn't pick Mage in the Derby because he seemed to always fall in the longer distances, as I said. However, he was always right behind Forte, who was going to be the favorite of the Derby before getting scratched. I think Mage has a great chance of winning the Preakness against his competition on Saturday, especially cutting back in the distance. And Mage also is coming off the fastest race of his career. So if he can put up those numbers once again on Saturday, he will cross the finish line first. Number 4 is Coffee with Chris at 20-1 odds for jockey Jamie Rodriguez and trainer John Salzman Jr. Jamie Rodriguez will be on the mount riding in his first Preakness, and trainer John Salzman will look to win his first as well. Now, Coffee with Chris comes in with the most races run, but has never run in a graded race. He also only has 2 wins, both being in 100,000 stakes races. That's a $100,000 claiming stakes race, which if you're taking a look at the graded races, there are a lot more money races than that. Think of the Derby, just, 1.5 million. This race is just as much as well. I think this horse should be closer to 40 to 50-1 in my opinion, and he probably will stay around it with only an 8-horse field. People bet him, but if this was the Derby, he'd be somewhere around 50-1. I will not be betting on him this Saturday. Number 5 is Red Route 1 at 10-1 odds for trainer Steve Asmussen and jockey Joel Rosario. Joel has 4 second-place finishes in the Preakness with 8 mounts, and he will look to give Steve Asmussen his 3rd Preakness win. Red Route 1 comes in winning his last race, which was a $200,000 stakes race, but prior ran in a lot of graded stakes races, not being able to win any of them. This horse has been very disappointing, but has ran against tougher competition and tends to have a late kick in him. He does lack some speed, but did well in his last race with speed. I think Red Route 1 can definitely find a way to hit the board, but it'll be tough for him to find a way to win, in my opinion, with a couple other horses I like in the field. Number 6 is Perform, 15-1 for Fergal Lynch and Claude McGahee III. Both are looking to win their Preakness debuts. Perform comes in after finally winning his maiden race after 6 tries, which is just terrible, and then went on to win a $125,000 stakes race. I do not think Perform will perform well on Saturday with those performances and should be closer to 25 or 30-1 come post time. One of the favorites in this race is Blazing Sevens at 6-1. He's the the 4th favorite with jockey Irad Ortiz Jr. and trainer Chad Brown. This will be Irad's 5th Preakness, coming in 2nd in 2021 with Midnight Bourbon. Chad Brown won the Preakness last year for the 2nd time. That horse was early voting. It was the 2nd favorite behind Epicenter, who ended up finishing 2nd in that race. Can Chad Brown go back to back in the Preakness? Well, Blazing Sevens comes in finishing 3rd behind Tappet Trice and Verifying, in the Grade 1 Bluegrass, and before that finished 8 by 26 horse lengths in the Grade 2 Fountain of Youth. Blazing Sevens can compete, but has been training well, but if this was the Derby, this horse would be more of 20-1 in my opinion. I don't see him winning, but with this field, he definitely has a chance with the level of competition he's been facing. And lastly, we have First Mission, the second favorite at 5-2 for jockey Luis Saez and trainer Brad Cox. This is great connections. He's got great connections with Brad Cox, jockey Luis Saez. Saez had his best finish in 2018 on Bravazzo, where he finished second. And Brad Cox is a great trainer who has won the Derby and the Belmont Stakes. But can he get that Preakness victory this week? That would be his first ever to at least win one of each of the Triple Crown races. So can First Mission be that horse? Well, he comes in winning the Grade 3 Lexington, posting 103 speed figure. He also has the least amount of experience in this race, but has won 2 of 3 career races. And that race he didn't win, he finished second, which is really, really good. And that was at a shorter distance. So the longer he goes, the better. He has really good pace and has been training the best out of any of these horses in the field. I definitely think First Mission will either be first or second when it comes down to the betting odds this coming Saturday. So here's my predictions, and I am going to go with First Mission to upset the Derby winner, Mage. I think having more time off and just the improvement in races from First Mission will get him the win. Also, if we take a look at the history of horses that have won the Derby and the Preakness, it's only been about a little over 30 of them, I believe about 33, and we're on year 148. So those aren't good odds, just a little over 20%. I like the post for him on the outside, and he has incredible speed to be able to match with Mage. If it isn't him, then it will definitely be the Derby winner, Mage, to win it. You know, he just keeps improving, and that's what we like to see. I then would put National Treasure at third. I think he could fight to win. He does, sort of like to come back. So depending on the pace, he could challenge for the lead, but I think he does hit the board at third. And finally, I am going to take Red Route 1 to hit those superfectas at the 4 spot. So I'm going First Mission, Mage, National Treasure, Red Route 1. I'll be doing an exacta with those horses, primarily First Mission and Mage. I might tie in National Treasure as well. I think there's a big gap between them, and that's probably what I'll be betting on Saturday, as well as a win on First Mission and Mage, and probably a trifecta with at least the top 3, probably throwing Red Route 1 as well to possibly finish third. So there is my predictions for the 148th running of the Preakness Stakes. I want to thank you guys for listening in to this video. Make sure that you subscribe and follow. I really appreciate it. And I will be back for the Belmont Stakes here in a few weeks to give you my predictions. I will place my bet slips and all that information on my Instagram on Saturday. That's at Sportsluck Podcast, as well as probably make a quick TikTok video at Sportsluck Podcast. So make sure you're following to check those out. Let me know who you are picking in the comment section below, and let's go out and get a win and bounce back this week for the 148th running of the Preakness Stakes.